Tyrone entered Justin's place in the spring of 2013, and I'm very proud to say he graduated in the class of June 2014. I think you're going to be very moved by Tyrone's story. Tyrone.
First of all, I'd like to say,
Tyrone and I aren't the same height.
okay. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking everybody for being here tonight. My journey started as a young age. I am a Mobilian, Alabama. That's my home, born and raised. I've been in Florida for a while, but Mobile will always be my heart because that's where my family and my friends at. But my journey started when I was 8 years old. One night, my mother and father came home, and it was a big fight. My father, he ended up killing my mother. He stabbed her 75 times with a knife. As a child, I was a witness for the state that sent my father to prison. My father was not a bad man, but he had got into drugs and drinking. And all through the years, I was bitter, hurt, because I thought God had let me down. Why did you give me a life? Why did you let this happen to me? But my grandmothers who loved me told me it was not God's fault. Things happen in life. All through the years, up and down, I was frustrated, angry. You know, when I played sports, I was like a vampire on the field because I didn't have nobody standing there cheering for me like everybody else. So therefore, in order for me to receive that love, I had to play extra hard, and I got that. But it left a void. So later on in life, I continued down that street. At the age of 22 years old, I went to prison for selling drugs. And the judge told me that he didn't hate me, but I was going down the wrong road, and that's the age of 22. And I didn't want to listen. I got out and continued on in the drug of substance, in and out of prison, still hating, still bitter, but in and out of rehab, in and out of prison. And I went back home, and they told me about a place in Jacksonville that was looking for some guys to work. And I said, well, you know, I can go down there and work. So when I went to Jacksonville to work, there wasn't no work, so I went down to Tampa, Florida. So as I was working in Tampa, the work was slow. And I saw, and the devil told me, and I told myself, you know what, I can go out and hustle and live better than this. And in my journey, when I went out and started back in the world, I caught a charge of selling cocaine to the undercover one night 2 times. I didn't know where I was going to happen. I didn't know where I was going. That morning, I went to see my attorney, and he told me, he said, you're looking at 30 years. Right then, I told myself, well, I did it to myself. I can't fault nobody. You know, I messed up my own life. But he told me, he said, if you can tell me something, maybe we can help you. I said, I got nothing to tell you. Then I started telling him about the bitterness in and out of prison, post-traumatic stress that I had. So he said that he'll go in front of the judge and the DA and present my case to him. And he said, I don't know, I can't show you nothing. So 4 months went by. I heard nothing from the DA, I heard nothing from nobody. That morning, I was called to go to court. I said, well, Lord, I know it wasn't on your fault. You know, I got to accept the consequences. Today, I still ask God, I don't know why you did it, but I know you did it. 30 years turned into 24 months. The DA got mad. He said, I don't know what you're going to do, but today, Tyrone Miles, you're going to prison for 24 months. He said, get out of my courtroom and don't let me see you no more. And while I was in prison, I heard some guys talking about a place called the St. Matthew's House in Naples, Florida. I said, what is that? He said, it's a place where people are getting their life together, and St. Matt's can help you. I wanted to go back to Mobile, but the Spirit told me, come to Naples. I came to Naples in 2010, and as I was working, I would always go back in the kitchen and help out, volunteer, because I learned from my grandmother at a young age to learn how to cook at the age of 7 and 9. I couldn't go out the house to play football. I had to cook and wash the dishes. And she didn't play. When she said it, she meant what she said, and I better not hit that door. Today, when I think back on my grandparents, I know they had true love for me, and they taught me the right way. So as I was down here in Naples, I kind of fell a couple times. And so when I fell, I say, I need help. This not doing it. And I remember the guys coming in the Gesture Place program. And Joel, who was the intake for the house, I called him up, and he had an interview with me. He said, right now, if you was able to come into the Gesture Place, what would stop you from coming in? I said, child support. Over with. He said, what else? I said, nothing. He said, well, you in here. And as I've been in this program, not only have they taught me not about my drug addiction, it is about giving God the opportunity to work in my life, to get to know my brothers and sisters. Get to know my brothers and sisters who suffer the same pain that I have. It's different, but it's the same. We share a bond that is very common, and that's emptiness. But through this program, that next month will be 2 years for me, my life had truly turned. The last time I seen my son, he was 8 months old. 3 months ago, I called him, and I said to myself, I said, I know this boy's not going to want to talk to me. He's going to say, you're not my father. You never did enough for me. And when I called him, and his mother gave him the phone, she said, your daddy was on the phone. He never disrespect me. He said, Father, I love you. He said, I love you. And it really touched me. Today, I'm a man of integrity because God had really touched my life. He given me something that I have never had before, and that's love. The people you see with the white shirts on, these are my brothers and my sisters. And I'd like to thank all of y'all who donate, who pray for us. Thank you so much. Today, I am a child of God again, and I am blessed to be called his son because he has given me the will to live a life of love. Thank you.